Hardworking people. Hardworking people of Bojangles. Now that's the serving class, right? They're working to serve people, right? Even if it's not a service per se, cutting hair is a service, they are giving me a tangible good, food, even a very important tangible good. But still a servant class. They are servants. Now, I use that term broadly, obviously, and trust me, I've been there. So, it is not an insult from my point of view. It means you're actually doing something, as opposed to people who make a lot more money who do a lot less. I saw on LinkedIn, I saw some UX designer, cushy office job. He posted, it's harder to get the job than to do the job. And there were people saying, oh yes, I found that to be true, blah, blah, blah. A bunch of, rich, yuppie sort of people. And I commented, oh yeah, it's a lot easier to get a job working at Walmart than it is to work 8-hour shifts in the stockroom. And then I followed up with, you must lead a charmed life. Now, I may have come off a bit confrontational, and maybe I was, but it's this sort of bubble. Do you really think that it's harder to get a job than to do a job? Maybe your job, but working the way most people work, people out there digging ditches, cutting grass. Even working at a fast food restaurant, that's fast-paced stuff. It's not the most highly skilled labor in the world, but it's a lot of work. and the arrogance that goes with that concept of not even thinking of servant class people as part of the general population. But no, that's the servant class. I'm talking about people like me, making such blanket statements, harder to get a job than to do the job. Whew. Boy, oh boy, have we come full circle in capitalism. And this wasn't someone who was probably born rich. Maybe he was, but he got a computer degree, got hooked up with the right people, most importantly. And, well, good luck. Yes, sir, I'm a hard worker. I've been studying for years to do this job, and I really want to do it. I want to wake up at 6 o'clock every morning, commute to your company, and I want to work there for 8 or more hours every day, 5 days a week. I don't want to take a rest. I want it to be like a consistent thing. And I want to work tirelessly so that I can get a small but livable amount of money in which I don't have to provide my own food, my own shelter, my own other necessities. I can use that money to barter with stores. And please. And when I work really hard. It's my passion. I love designing sewer systems. It's what I do. That's why I became an engineer. I went through all that schooling just so that you can give me a little bit more than normal amount of slave wages. And then you can make millions off of my labor. Millions. You make the money. I do the work. You make the money. And together, well, with me and a couple of my colleagues, and of course the customers, we'll all be rich. I can design sewers. All the math involved, all that I've learned for years. I'm sure this is what some of you'd like to see me doing. Applying for jobs. But let's face it, if your job is your passion, good, lucky you. I went to Starbucks today, but there was no employees, and there was no coffee, because nobody wanted to work in the coffee fields. Nobody wanted to wake up and grind the beans. There wasn't enough passion for people to do it without the threat of starvation or homelessness held over their head. It's almost as if this society is based on the premise of forced servitude, in which the haves rely on the service of the have-nots who are forced into labor, or else it's not like they can just go in the woods and survive. Not only are they capable, also it's illegal. It's illegal because where are you going to live? You don't own land. You can't survive on your own. You have to be part of the system. You have to. You have to be a part of the system. And to be part of the system, unfortunately for you, that means you have to work at McDonald's. That's what that means. You have to work at the grocery store. You have to work at the sewer plant. You have to do something because people who were born into money, locked into money, or in the money, they demand your services. They demand their coffee. They need their iPads built. Who's gonna build them? Robots? Not yet. You. We have literal slaves mining metals used in all electronics in Africa today. Slaves, slave markets, slave catching, slave selling throughout the world, particularly in parts of Africa, in order to sustain this society, which allows many nice things, Volvos, but it is built as all things are built, through force and blood and sweat and tears. You think consuming all this stuff, oh, I'm not doing anything bad? Sure you're not. You're just buying it from someone who is. Because your electronics, the thing you're watching this on, was made with slave labor, literal slave labor, and, Chinese people or even American people, anybody in a factory who doesn't want to be there, right? Forced to do that or they're homeless. So that's the way the world works. Don't argue and say, oh, no, that's not how it happens. That is how it happens. Accept it. If you choose to continue to live as if nothing like that matters, then so be it. But just accept it. There are slaves and next to slaves serving you 24/7. That's the way of the world. You think you're better? Yes, again. Barclay, I owe you a bunch of money. Visa, I owe you a bunch of money. Discover Card, I owe you thousands of dollars. Tens of thousands of dollars. American Express, I owe you thousands and thousands of dollars. I owe all of you people tons of money. And I'm not paying it. I'll never pay. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Throw me in debtor's prison? Nope. There's nothing you can do. Lower my credit score? It's already low. Nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. In fact, soon I'll be filing bankruptcy. And when I do, the second I do, gone. And to those of you thinking that the credit card companies, when they hear that you're not paying the debt, they're gonna cry, and some guy's gonna lose his job and be on the street. Oh, I didn't court paste. No, that's not what's gonna happen. These trillionaire companies, no one's even going to see it. They're going to get an order from the government. It's going to go directly from one computer to their computer. It'll say, delete account 42694, and then, whoop, gone. No one's even going to see it. They're not even going to notice it. They've already factored in that there's going to be bankruptcies. They know. Oh, according to our calculations, according to last thing, 2.5% of people file bankruptcy at an average rate of blah, blah, blah. And then They say, okay, so we're going to set apart this amount of money that we know we're going to lose, write it off. Well, hi, I'm Mr. Write-Off. All right, thank you for the cruise. Thank you for the new toys. Thank you for the rent. Thank you, Mr. Trillionaire, who spends all of his time trying to make my life worse every single day, and every single hard-working slave you have in this country. Well, sometimes every dog has his day, I guess. So thank you. Thank you for letting some scraps fall off. Just a little, just in case there's people who are really suffering. And you know what? We want them to be able to file bankruptcy. Why? Because we don't care. It's not our money. The credit card companies aren't lending you their money. They're not saying, oh, let me get in my pocket right quick. How much money do you want? No. The government, the Fed, the central banks, give them money. Credit card companies, they say, lend this to people. The credit card companies say, okay. And they lend it at exorbitant rates of interest. And then they pay back to government, and they've got it all mathed out, and it's not their money. In fact, it's not even the government. It's not like the government's getting it from taxpayers. The government, the Federal Reserve, which is not the government, the Federal Reserve makes this money out of thin air. Thin air. Let's make $20 billion today, and we'll give it to the banks. No, let's not take 20. Let's create out of thin air $20 billion. Give it to these banks so they can loan it to people. And if they loan money to people, people will spend money, and people spend money, the economy will go, and everybody's happy. Right? So all I'm doing is my part as a proud American, helping the economy to churn on. It's not about, oh, my precious money. The government, the Federal Reserve, these banks can take $50 trillion and shoot it off into space and laugh. All right, they don't care about the money, all right? Because it's not real. It's not real. They just made it up. It's imaginary. So that's how money works. If you really want